Welcome back to another deep dive. And today we are stepping into that voices between space because, well, we need to tackle something that is incredibly heavy, but also just universal. We're talking about betrayal.
Yeah.
And not just, a bad breakup. We mean the kind of structural rupture that makes the floor just fall out from under your life.
We're talking about trauma, the deep psychological kind.
Wow.
It's that moment where you look at your life or your partner and you realize, wait, I thought I knew what this was.
And suddenly you don't.
Suddenly you're looking at a stranger. It's a complete collapse of the known world.
Exactly. And the usual advice is so shallow. Get revenge or get a makeover.
Right.
But today we are looking at a completely different roadmap. We're digging into the psychological series by the spirit author Joanna de Angelis.
Which is this massive body of work. We're pulling from books like Triunfo Pessoal, Amor, Imbatível Amor.
And what makes her so unique, I think, is her lens.
Oh, absolutely. She blends this high-level spiritist philosophy with Jungian depth psychology. So she's looking at the soul, the immortal spirit.
But she's using these very precise, almost clinical psychological tools to explain how we break.
And more importantly, how we put the pieces back together.
And that's the mission for today.
Yeah.
We are not just going to sit here and admire the problem. We want to pull out Joanna's concrete step-by-step protocol.
Yeah.
Moving from why did this happen to me to, okay, how do I actually rebuild?
And she is so clear that you can rebuild, often stronger than before.
So let's start at the bottom, the crash. In Triunfo Pessoal, she doesn't downplay what this does to a person. She uses a very modern term for it, doesn't she?
She does. She explicitly calls it post-traumatic stress. She's validating that this isn't just being sad.
No.
It's a shock to the system, and she lists these, clinical symptoms, invasive memories, flashbacks you can't control, nightmares.
And then there's that.
Yeah.
That terrible paradox she talks about.
Yes.
The loop.
The loop. She says you're caught in this state where you desperately want to forget the event. It's the only thing you want.
But you can't stop replaying it.
You're compulsively reliving it. And alongside that, this emotional anesthesia, you just go numb.
Like you're behind glass.
Exactly. People are laughing, you're at a party, and you just feel nothing.
Which is defense mechanism, right?
Yeah.
The system overloads and just flips the breakers.
Precisely. But here's the deeper question she asks. Why does betrayal hurt so much? I mean, people lose jobs, they get sick, and those things are awful.
But this feels like a death.
An annihilation of the self. And she explains that a major betrayal is like a lightning rod.
Right.
It strikes in the present, yes. But the current travels down, and it hits what she calls your heridas da infancia, your childhood wounds.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about the person who lied to you today.
No. It echoes all the way back to the unloved child, the crianza malmada that lives in so many of us.
So if you felt abandoned as a kid, or even
traumas from past lives, yeah, they're dormant. But the betrayal connects all that pain at once.
So it's a compound fracture. You're feeling the pain of today plus a pain of being 5 and lonely all at the same time.
Correct. And this leads to the core mechanism she describes, the fracture between the ego and the self.
Let's break those terms down, because she's very specific.
Okay, so think of the ego as your avatar. It's the mask, the part of you that navigates society, wants to be liked. It's your defense system.
Right.
The self, with a capital S, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
The divine spark, the deep core that knows your true purpose.
So the ego is the costume and the self is the actor inside.
That's a great way to put it. When betrayal hits, the ego is the one that gets crushed. It's built on external things. I am a wife. I am a successful partner.
When that gets taken away.
The ego collapses into fear and rage and shame. It just screams. And it's screaming so loud it completely drowns out the self.
And that's the danger zone, when the ego is driving the bus off a cliff.
Yes. That's when we fall into what she calls autodestructive patterns. We try to numb the pain.
Addictions, risky behaviors.
Or even just total self-neglect. Because deep down, the shattered ego thinks, if I was betrayed, I must not be worth loving.
Ugh, that hits hard. If I was betrayed, I must be trashed.
It's the lie of the shattered ego, and her entire protocol is about silencing that lie so the self can take over.
So let's pivot. We're in the hole. We get why we're in the hole. How do we get out? What's the triage?
She's surprisingly physical here. You'd expect a spirit author to say, just meditate.
Right.
But in Amor, Imbatível Amor, she starts with the body. She prescribes rhythmic exercise.
Wait, really? Like go for a swim, is step one of spiritual healing.
Specifically rhythmic, swimming, walking, cycling. The idea isn't just fitness, it's about discharging tension from the nervous system.
Breaking the physical armor of trauma.
Exactly. Trauma locks you in fight or flight. Rhythmic movement signals safety to the brainstem. It lets that armor crack open.
So you literally have to shake it off before you can think it through.
You can't heal a mind that's housed in a panicked body. So once you've done that, you move to step 2, mental hygiene.
Which is not toxic positivity, I'm guessing.
No, thank goodness. It isn't just smile. It's the discipline of interruption.
Of the loop.
Of the loop, yes. When that thought comes in, I'm destroyed, I'll never trust again, you catch it. You notice it.
And you manually override it.
You consciously replace it with an affirmation of capability, like, I am hurt, but I am capable of healing.
It's a muscle, you have to train it.
It stops the bleeding. And then step 3 in this triage phase is prayer.
But not, please God, fix this for me.
No, it's not begging for magic. She calls it nervous system hygiene. It's a way to tune in to the psychismo divino, the divine psychism.
That's an incredible phrase.
Think of it like plugging into a power source. Trauma drains your battery. Pray plugs you into the universal grid.
So you're creating a safe base inside your own mind.
A place the betrayal cannot touch. It stabilizes the emotions so the real work can begin.
I love that. It's not God save me, it's God sustain me while I save myself.
That's the Spiritist view, right there.
Okay, so we've stopped the bleeding. We're stabilized. Now for the surgery. The deep work. Joanna talks a lot about writing.
Yes, the writing practice.
Yeah.
She suggests writing a biography of your current life.
A biography, like, I was born on a Tuesday.
More like a forensic analysis of your emotional history. You write to find the patterns.
The threads.
Exactly. Why do I always choose partners like this? Where did this feeling of abandonment first start? It pulls the repressed stuff out of the unconscious and puts it on paper where you can see it.
And I imagine that helps with the guilt.
Oh, this is crucial. She makes a distinction between real responsibility and neurotic guilt.
Okay, unpack that. Because people get stuck there.
Right. Real responsibility is just data. It's saying, okay, maybe I ignored some red flags because I was lonely. That's useful information. You can learn from it.
But neurotic guilt
is the ego's judgment. It says, I was betrayed because I'm unlovable. I'm damaged goods.
Responsibility says, I made a mistake. Guilt says, I am a mistake.
That's it. And writing helps you separate them. You can see your part in the dynamic, but you can also see that you didn't deserve the betrayal.
That separation is everything. Okay, so we write to clear the noise, and then we get quiet. Reflective silence, which sounds terrifying when you're heartbroken.
It is scary. But she says it's non-negotiable. We have to find a quiet place nature, a closed room, to hear the inner voice.
Because the ego is screaming and the self is whispering.
Yes. You have to turn down the volume on the ego's panic about injustice so you can hear the self, which knows the way forward.
That's tough, but I get it.
Okay.
Speaking of the ego screaming about injustice, let's talk about the person who did this to us.
Ah, yes. The resentment. Magoa.
She has a pretty vivid metaphor for that, doesn't she?
She does. She says holding on to resentment is like holding a burning coal, intending to throw it at someone else.
You're the only one getting burned.
And your body can't tell the difference between I'm being attacked now and I'm remembering being attacked. It literally makes you sick.
So how do we let it go? Because just let it go is the worst advice ever.
She offers a tool called dynamic renunciation.
Dynamic renunciation. Okay, that sounds active. It doesn't mean being a doormat, does it? Oh, you heard me, it's fine.
No, not at all. That would just be repression. Dynamic renunciation means you actively choose to stop being the jailer of your aggressor.
The jailer, what does that mean?
Well, think about it. If you're obsessing over revenge or checking their social media, you are mentally imprisoned with them.
You're standing guard over their crime.
Yes. Dynamic renunciation is opening the cell door and saying, I am releasing you to the divine laws.
I'm trusting cause and effect to handle this so I don't have to.
Precisely. It's an act of self-liberation. It frees up your mental real estate. You don't have to like them. You don't have to be
You
friends.
just have to stop carrying them around in your head.
You value your peace more than your grievance. And once you do that, once you drop the coal, you have an empty space.
So what do we build there? This is the reconstruction phase, right?
In Triunfo Pasol, she calls it the virasor, the coming to be. You have to design a new life project.
A new life project. That sounds huge, especially when you're just trying to get through the day.
It starts small, but the shift is fundamental. You are moving the seat of government in your psyche from the crushed ego to the resilient self.
And how do you speed that up?
She gives one specific tool. Service. Amor, perdón y servicio, love, pardon, and service.
Like charity.
More like reconnecting with your own utility. When you get out of your own head and help someone else, you remind yourself that you have value.
It's proof of life.
Exactly. Betrayal makes you feel useless, discarded. Service proves to your own brain that you are useful, that you are a source of good.
It flips the script from I need to, I can give.
And the result of this whole thing is that the childhood wounds finally get parented by your adult self. The trauma stops being a life sentence.
And becomes a methodology of illumination. That's an amazing reframe.
It's not suffering for suffering's sake. It's a method for waking up.
Okay, so let's bring this home. Let's recap the protocol.
Right. Step 1, stabilize. Rhythmic movement for the body, prayer for the mind.
Step 2, process. Write it out. Separate real responsibility from neurotic guilt.
Step 3, listen. Get quiet so you can hear the self.
Step 4, release. Dynamic renunciation. Fire yourself as the jailer.
And step 5, rebuild. Create a new life project centered on service.
It sounds like a lot, but you can just start with one thing.
Exactly. Just the walk or just one journal entry. Healing isn't a race. It's a spiral.
You keep circling back, but you're a little higher up each time.
You're climbing out of the hole.
I love that. And before we go, is there one last thought from Joanna we can leave people with?
There is. In Autodescubrimiento, she says that suffering isn't a punishment. It's a challenge to our resistance. And then she says, the higher the being, the greater the sensitivity to transform pain into light.
The higher the being, the greater the sensitivity to transform pain into light.
So if you're feeling it this deeply, it means you have the capacity to transform it just as deeply. You aren't broken.
You're just being asked to turn on a brighter light.
That's it.
That is so powerful. To everyone listening, you are not defined by what happened to you. You are, as she says, destined to the stars. Thank you for diving deep with us.
Take care of yourselves.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.